Quinoa. I don't even sell quinoa, but I love quinoa. I think it's an awesome food. It's called like a pseudo grain because it's not really a grain, it's more of a seed. Even though the Incans, I think it was, yeah, the Incans called it the mother grain, but it's not really a grain. So what's great about that is there's so many people now dealing with gluten issues, gluten intolerances. People are eating gluten-free. Quinoa is, I think, probably the best option if you're trying to eat gluten-free. So if you're not familiar with quinoa, you want to get to know it. And even if you're not avoiding gluten, quinoa is an amazing, amazing, powerful food. Very rich, one of those all-around foods, again, very rich in vitamins and minerals and amino acids. It's a great source of protein.
Cooks quickly.
Cooks quickly. But it actually has a complete amino acid profile, which a lot of grains don't. You usually combine them with beans or some kind of like vegetable to get a complete amino acid profile. Quinoa doesn't.
And I'm going to pass this around. This is a recipe for a quinoa salad that is super awesome.
And another note, people who have kind of candida or yeast overgrowth, which a lot of people deal with and don't even know it, it doesn't feed yeast, which is really cool. It doesn't feed candida or any fungus in the body.
And it's a great, great replacement for pasta. One of the hardest things is when you try to start eating healthy and you hear that you shouldn't be eating all these processed foods. Well, one of the foods people eat a lot of is pasta. And almost all pasta is, it's processed, obviously. Even if it's whole grain pasta, it still obviously has to be processed in some way to create this noodle shape because it doesn't just grow like that in nature. So a good alternative to that is quinoa. And I've been using it recently and it's amazing. I've been doing like grass-fed beef with quinoa instead of pasta and like fresh marinara sauce from my friend's garden. And it is the best pasta I've ever had in my life. So really it's a great thing to incorporate in place of your pasta or any kind of your processed noodles and things like that. You can use it for a lot of different things.
And something to be aware of about grains and or seeds in general is there's compounds that protect the seed. So these things are designed to survive forest fires and survive nature, and all what it has to offer. So basically, soaking these things releases compounds like phytic acid, and then cooking them is a very wise thing to do because it has a lot of anti-nutrients. Again, it's a defense mechanism. None of us want to be eaten, plants don't want to be eaten, nothing wants to be eaten. So it has protective barriers as much as it can, and we call this like phytic acid, and there's different nutrients that basically, or anti-nutrients that protect the seed, and will leach calcium, will leach zinc out of your body, will actually demineralize you if you don't know how to deactivate that. So it's as simple as just soaking it for a few hours. Do it in the morning, you're going to have quinoa that night, just soak it in water, come back home.
I'm really glad you said that because I don't know if that's on the recipe to soak first, but that is very, very important. And that goes for a lot of nuts and seeds, almonds and walnuts, and it's a great idea to soak them overnight. What's that? I don't know who didn't get jogulin tea, but we'll pass it around because that's our next subject here.
Say 3 or 4 hours or longer, or 5?
At least a couple hours. The easiest way to do it is just soak it overnight, but
yeah, the longer the better, honestly.
Yeah, and you can sprout it like in 48 hours if you just replace the water and it'll grow sprouts and you can eat it. People are doing sprouting, so but they know that.